We got about 45 takes to the second hand. When they say we start at 8 a.m., we start at 8 a.m. 8:30, whatever it is.
8 a.m., give or take 30 minutes.
More or less. We can start late. Nobody complained about that. They start early. That's no meeting exact violation. I don't care what you do to that clock. You throw it, it's never gonna, that clock can't even be right twice a day. It's so bad.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that clock is a piece of trash. All right, ready? Let's get this party started. All right, at this time, we'll call this regular meeting of the Hill County Commissioners Court to order this November the 26th, 2024. Let the record reflect that this meeting is being held both in person and you can participate online through the Zoom link provided in the agenda. As of 8 o'clock this morning, I can attest that no one had signed up to participate or speak publicly. However, if something comes up during the meeting and they want to speak, we'll see if we can't work them in. All that being said, there is a quorum of commissioners present established, and this meeting was posted in accordance with Texas Government Code 551, better known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. At this time, before this undertaking, we can invoke the blessing of the Almighty. Commissioner Lake, can I ask you to lead us in word? And we'll do the pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to meet and do the business of Hill County. We ask you to have the people who are traveling, however many million there are this weekend, to be able to be safe and get back home safely. And we thank you for Thanksgiving and all the things that means to everybody in America. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Finally, the pledge of the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank y'all for being with us this morning. It is a blustery day out and a nice balmy 36 degrees when I got up on the porch at 6 o'clock this morning in Aquila, Texas. So hopefully it warms up just a bit because that's a little too cold for me. Well, what's happening in Hill County Precinct 1 this morning, Commissioner?
Well, we got late yesterday afternoon, took delivery of our new maintainer.
Good.
So that was a quick turnaround. And we're out on 11:45 trying to shape it up, which is a train wreck always.
Okay.
And got a short week, got short-handed, so we're doing what we can do. We're having issues with rock and quality of rock and quantity of rock.
Okay.
And something that I think we all would agree that we need to at least take into consideration when we're entering into these solar agreements and our road use agreements is that the county has been put in, at least Larry and I think, in a compromised position from being able to get rock for our roads. Our turnaround time is protracted because of the volume of trucks. The inventory in the pits is starting to be depleted because of the inventory of trucks and the commitment that they make on funding. I don't know how to fix that. I just throw that out for consideration.
I don't know how we tell private business how to regulate that. That would be difficult for me to do.
Well, we really couldn't tell the pits, but we could put some kind of a priority in the road use agreements.
We can do that.
In
You'd
the
have
abatement
to start voting for them, though.
Huh?
You'd have to start voting for them.
Touche.
We try to keep it lighthearted around here. No, at home, this is, if you're just seeing this for the first time, we like to poke each other here. Yeah. But no, I get it. And I think as a contractual clause, yes, sir, there could be something in there. I don't know off the top of my head what that looks like, but it's worth exploring definitely. And I think it's a good idea that we can do something there. So Commissioner Crumpton, what's happening in precinct 2?
Same thing. We're trying to build up some roads and trying to thicken the rock up on it and doing some other things, patching potholes here and there. And the same thing I'd already thought about because Connors is been up and down and then one solar system had 40, 50 trucks.
Oh, yeah.
And when they order 250,000 tons, that's over 10,000 loads.
Yes, sir.
And it puts a strain on that, and when they're gone, we're still here. That
Exactly.
keeps the pits going for them, and they know that, but
And didn't you approach one of the pits a couple years ago about adding a second crusher, and their take was, well, this solar panel electrical farm business, that's just temporary, so they won't, was it you telling me that?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know what the solution is gonna be. Connor blew a motor last week, and so that was, you know, when we went to Arnold Cement or whatever they call them, and we get maybe 3 loads a day, and we go to Connor's and we can get 5 to 6 loads a day. It's that much closer.
Yeah.
And you know, we try not to go to them as often as we have to, but
I had a follow-up on that.
Yes, sir.
Rattler has changed hands and they have overhauled and like not refurbishing the equipment's there, but they're ordering new equipment. And after the first of the year, the new owners are gonna take that over in earnest and really, you know, there's a lot of places I think in that pit that they could, if they could get the overburden off of it, they could shoot.
Okay.
And Chuck's just never been willing to do that.
I'd heard a rumor that they was ordering a new crusher, so.
Wow, that would definitely change the dynamic.
Yeah.
So that leaves you guys with Connor, Rattler, and did they reopen that old Maverick pit?
No.
Okay, it's still shut down.
I think we ought to buy it.
We got plenty of other non-producing assets, why not?
Anyway, ready for the holidays, gonna have a half a crew tomorrow, so.
Yeah, I think that'll be the county story, so gotcha, on good deal. Commissioner, what's happening down precinct 3 this morning?
All I can say from this side of the table is welcome to my work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I thought about that when you got a haul. Either way, either Connors or Arnold's or Maverick, Rattler, you know, 2 or 3 loads is all you can get a day.
It's a 3 load day.
Wow.
No, we got a new bridge opened up yesterday on
Good deal.
3220. Got that in, took out some old tin horns that were really bad about flooding. And we do have rain, so hopefully that'll get that fixed up. Working today with Texas Materials, they're doing an 8-inch mill and what we call rails bottom.
Okay, on 171.
Yeah, going all the way down to the roadway, so not really milling, but a little bit of everything.
Well, the only upside of that whole project is the opportunity for a high-speed chase no longer presents itself on that road.
Yeah, it'll come to an abrupt stop, yeah. But other than that, but like y'all, trying to patch the mud holes and let it be roads.
I appreciate you guys' efforts. Commissioner Lake, what's happening in precinct 4?
Oh, we're just trying to tie up a few things that we can shut in for Thanksgiving. I've been having the gravel hauled, which to the yard, so that seems to be more cost effective. I figured by the time we make the deal, you've got at least $80 worth of labor and insurance in it. And can you buy the fuel and buy a tire too? It's, I think, cheaper, and so that way they end up sitting there for 45 minutes or whatever.
And your guys are on blades or,
deal.
yeah.
And it's been working out quite well for us. It's sort of shooting my budget down for hauling, but you know, I'm using over anyways.
I didn't have to throw shot. They're shooting themselves now. You don't pull trigger. Taking the fun out of this point. All right, well, good deal. What's happening at the sheriff's office today, chief?
Just line things down, we had the sheriff at his chief deputy and then last week, Thursday and Friday,
Okay.
and met folks there at the office and in the jail. So they're looking over files, stuff like that, just getting ready for whenever they take office. Today's gonna be my last commissioner's court.
I wish we'd known in advance, we would have done something.
So, that way you didn't.
Oh, understood, understood.
So.
I'd know this, I would do that
I
too.
accepted a job with, I think it's the perfect retirement job for me after 38 years being a cop, the Grand Prairie ISD.
Congratulations.
Basically assigned to a school, elementary school, and my whole job is just to stop the threat. The beauty of it is, I think I work 186 days a year, all the holidays off, so hunt in winter and travel in the summer. So it all sounds perfect to me, but.
Congratulations.
Hmm?
Congratulations.
What I intend to do is I'll work through tomorrow.
Mhm.
Then I'm gonna start planning time, spend some time with you, Sharon. They're out for Christmas break, so I'll come back. During that time frame. My last physical day will be the 20th.
Okay,
I'm gonna keep my iPad, and so that I'll be available for emails.
Okay.
My employer, they said that they don't have a problem with me, answering phones, whatever.
thank you.
As long as it doesn't interfere with obviously my other job.
Yeah.
I don't know how it possibly could, but, so that's the plan. The sheriff's gonna be there through December.
Mhm.
And so that's pretty much it. I do want to thank all of you, for my time here, and all the support that you've given the sheriff's office, and, you've made it really easy to work with. So I appreciate that very much.
I thank you for all your efforts on behalf of Hill County and the citizens of Hill County. We appreciate it and wish you the best in your future endeavors.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to the next one. What's happening in IT?
This week, Judge, it's not a whole lot, mostly the state stuff. Last week, we upgraded, we were able to check one checkbox off of our CJIS compliance list. We had some software that was out of date. We just had to upgrade it to a newer version, something that's supported still, and so we were able to meet that compliance item last week. Next Wednesday morning, Motorola is going to be upgrading the actual spillman application that kicks off at 5 a.m. Shouldn't take too long. This is what they're telling me, right? And so really, yeah, upgrades and CJIS compliance, working through those things.
Oh, good deal. Wonderful, wonderful. Ms. Parker, what's happening in the treasurer's office? Yeah, that sounds very accurate. Yes. Susan, how things in the auditor's office?
Just the same. Recall it.
No doubt, no doubt.
And we'll get your check, I guess, on Friday.
Well, that'll make you a favored person around here. That definitely helps your status if you pay them. Constable, what's happening out in precinct 3?
It's just paper is slowing down right now with the holidays coming up. So people start suing people down.
I wish they wouldn't do that. Lawyers got to eat too. I mean, you're right. Divorce season. That end of January money coming in. I don't practice family law, by the way, so don't call me. ESD1, what's happening with you guys today? You're here to see us, and I'm glad you always glad to have you all in the audience.
We're ganging up on you today.
I'm not giving you a burn ban. It's not on the agenda.
We're going into our dry season as usual and everything else, and all we can do is pray for rain.
You want to?
And it's hoping the best because the holidays are here.
Well, I joked a minute ago about burn ban, and it went off, as you guys may know, it expired into 30 days last Friday or Thursday, Friday at 9 a.m. It's going to be on our next agenda. That will be December the 10th. The reason for it is our KBDI, Keach Byram Drought Index, why the measure that we go to look to see if we're in drought conditions for the purpose of the Forest Service definition. We're still sitting at 5:30 this morning, I think, or yesterday morning was 5:30, I think. Anyway, 575 is that magic number. And if this wind continues to blow like it is, we're going to be right back in those drought conditions. So I hope everybody goes home and prays for rain. But at the same time, I do believe we're going to have discussion or action on burn ban on the next Commissioner's Court agenda on the 10th. I figured you might, so.
We're due right now for a freeze coming in, and when we get all the grass, it's gonna start turning around, so we need all the help we can get right now.
Well, right now they need a burn ban this morning on burning vehicles. We've had like 3 vehicle fires around the county this morning so far.
We went through this several years ago, we got 2% out here that don't pay attention to anything.
I like your optimism that it's only 2. Yeah. All right. Well, good deal, guys. Appreciate it. I'll get to you guys in a second because you're actually on the agenda today. That being said, from this chair, we're doing a lot of policy cleanup. There's been some conversations on the 11th and the 10th. I hope to bring back before the court the revised subdivision rules and regulations. We had been in the process for the last 2 years of revising these rules, but we have had I don't know, not a kink in the plans, but a need come up for us to make some changes to help a Hill County city make a grant application to the Water Board, Texas Water Development Board. And I got some changes we need to make to our rules, and I don't think they're gonna upset anybody, so we'll hope to have a draft copy for you guys then. The other thing is tiny homes. We are still on track to put together a regulation or a policy on how we're going to treat tiny homes. They're not specifically mentioned in the code. You've got subdivisions, you've got mobile home parks. We really don't have much regulatory authority on RV parks. But we need to do something about these tiny homes. We've had a call the other day about an individual that wanted to put 500 tiny homes on one piece of property. And so that leads us into the next thing that we're working on right now, and that is our OSSF, On-Site Septic Facility Operations Guidelines. We went back and we took that over from TCEQ in 2008. And I'm going to be honest, I was young and not well educated as I needed to be then. And I think that I could have done a lot better job of that resolution. But what we're doing is looking at our neighbors, and Navarro County specifically has a really good setup for this kind of stuff. We looked at Bosque, we looked at Johnson, we looked at Ellis, looked at McLennan, and we are going to update our rules for our OSSF. There's some antiquated ideas on there that we weren't requiring certain things. The issue is this: as more and more people get here, we are seeing more and more problems with oversaturation of soil types. One of the grossest things I can tell you is that if you can go out to the lake, on our side of the lake, and those limestone formations, you'll see stuff running down in certain subdivisions. That's sewage. It's raw sewage coming out because the ground is oversaturated. You know, TCEQ now requires a ½ acre minimum for a septic system. We don't have that in a lot of places. Our rules for subdivision require 1 acre minimum for a house. And there's some rationale behind that. Anyway, those are conversations we'll have coming up, but those are the 3 major policy initiatives that I'm trying to get through before the first of the year so that they're out of the way and they can take effect January 1 and start moving forward. So anyway, now we'll see how far I get with that after I told you I'm going to do it, but we'll see from there. Chris, anything in emergency management this morning? I love that. Anything from the county attorney's office?
Shout out to Michaela Alvarado for prosecuting an assault case for the jury last week, getting guilty. And
Congratulations.
we settled after the guilty innocence verdict came back. On 9 months in jail, 9 months served. He was waiting to go to state jail and just wanted to have a field trip to the courthouse and have a jury trial, so we gave him one. And the good news out of it all is what he learned to do right to appeal.
Oh, even better. Very proud of Mickey. She's been such a great attorney. That's awesome. All right, well, guys, what we're going to do then, we'll move right into this agenda after that long session. And first thing this morning is open forum. Is there something you want to address the court about? You're not on the agenda, or maybe it is on the agenda. You want to talk to us about it. Either way, this is your opportunity to address the court. If you would, please limit your comments to about 3 minutes in duration. As we respect you, please show respect to the court. Going once, going twice. Oh, come on. Yeah, what you got?
You know, since I'm one of those recycle freaks.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm just letting y'all know that. But you know, they did away with our dumpster for
Uh-huh.
recycling at the courthouse because it was causing us a lot of money. And have we explored other options for the paper?
It's a great question. So the city of Hillsborough has had a long time contract with a company called Republic Waste. They've now entered into a tentative arrangement where they're going to change to a group called Frontier. Frontier is owned by a gentleman that lives down in the Quill area, actually. And I've reached out to them about their possibility for having recycling dumpster, and they did not say no. They said, well, we're interested and we're going to get back to you. So hopefully that the new waste company that the city's going with will present us some opportunities for recycling on a commercial basis. Because they still do, you know, Coke does the recycling at households, as I understand it. They just quit doing it at business, which I don't understand.
Which I don't know, with the sheriff, y'all do some kind of shredding.
Yeah, we have shredding on site that they come out there and do it. If they all, you can see it.
Just one for mine or something.
It's periodic, it's just, probably quarterly, if you better, but we have bins that we pay for, they come out there, they're all locked, procedures and everything else.
Okay.
They have locked done. Shut them right there, so that we know definitively what's happening with procedures.
Yeah. Anyway, I just know that we shred a lot of paper and it goes in the trash and it makes me sad.
No, and I'm okay with that.
I don't think they recycle.
I give mine to a friend that takes it to Cleveland. I mean, I'm not from work, but from home. And yeah, they take shredded, like.
That was the most unprosecuted crime in Hill County is little old ladies in the middle of the night getting caught on camera, putting their newspaper and recycling stuff. So, allegedly,
Anyway.
allegedly.
It's just.
Yeah, I think, yes, ma'am, we can do better and we will. So thank you. Anybody else for open forum? Going once, going twice. All right. Then at this time, we have a consent agenda. This morning, we have action on minutes, action on invoices, action on payroll, action on longevity pay, action on the monthly report for revenue disbursement, and observe and record any elected official certificates of training. That being said, if there's anything you want to pay off for individual discussion, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll entertain the motion to approve as stands. Motion second. Is there any discussion whatsoever? Hearing none, I shall call the question. Yes, ma'am.
You might have an extra. I'll take that one.
Oh, you're right.
You do. That's okay. I still want to make some.
Oh, no, that's okay. I'm good with that. There's some of that paper we were talking about. All right, I'm gonna call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. All right, I'm going to start passing the orders around while we discuss other business here. And that way we can get most of this. You guys remember longevity pay that we pay it once right before this time of year? Okay. All right. Then we have on our orders today, discuss and or approve employee wage status changes. We actually don't have any for today. And number two is something I've been waiting for and want to do, and that is a presentation from our friends at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. We have a new Hill County FCH agent. So awesome. Come on up.
Yes, very excited to be here today for this reason. Oh, y'all been waiting a little bit.
We're happy to find a good fit though.
Here I have a short resume for our new hire. I'd like to present
Thank you, sir.
Wendy Grantis as the new FCH agent for Hill County. Wendy comes to us with a bachelor's degree from Texas Women's University. And then about 12, 13 years in the education business, and as most recently as a culinary arts teacher and for high school students. And so we're excited to bring Wendy to Hill County. She is a recent resident, moved in, so we're
Welcome here.
happy about that. And I think one of the things from her interview that stood out to me is her ability to bring kind of a positive teamwork effort. And so I think she'll fit in with your agent.
Good deal. We're huge for that.
Yes, and
Thank
I
you.
think she's ready to hit the road running, and I think she'll be a great asset to Hill County.
Before they hired you, they tell you like you're coming on the very front edge. They got county fair, so they're going to work you like a rented mule.
I like to work.
Oh, that's good. As long as they were upfront with you about it, yes.
The more the merrier.
That's awesome.
Work.
Good deal. Well,
It came to the Shepherd family. They live here, Abbott forever.
No, my family's in Kaufman County. I lived in Kaufman County.
They lived Shepherd about ag for years and years and years.
If they're good people, yeah, they're.
That's actually a well thought out answer. Yeah.
They belong to me.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, we look forward to working with you, Wendy. Thank you for coming forward.
We just literally last night was my very first night to actually spend the night in our house in Hill County. So we're really, really excited to be here and start a new life here and contribute to the community. So I'm really, really excited.
I think you're going to find it's a wonderful place to live and work. So we enjoy it.
Tell you, good luck in public education. I'm leaving and you're going in. You'll love it. You'll love working with the students. That's the part I'm just.
That's awesome. Good deal. Well, anything that you guys as an initiative you're looking to do? I know you're going to get your feet under, you get a feel for it for a little bit, but is there something that we're trying to accomplish down the road?
I think one of the bigger things is providing that adult nutrition education.
It's huge for us. Yes.
And as it relates to chronic disease and well-being and all that, and also with the youth being a big part of that 4-H program. So
we do such a great job of outreach to kids here in Hill County with that, in giving opportunity for traditionally rural areas that didn't have a lot of opportunity. So we're big fans of the 4-H in my family, and the FCA agents always played an important part in Hill County in that. So yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And a pleasure to meet you. Welcome.
You'll need anything.
Same thing. Open door policy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a great day. All right, we're gonna move into number 3, which is discussion and approve budget amendments. So what we have is budget amendment that I just sat down here somewhere that was given to me. Do with it. There we go. So what we're looking at is the 2023, 2024, last year's budget, and there's some stuff that's over in there. So we have a contingency line item, and what we're talking about doing here is to correct the books for last year, is to move things from contingency and allocate them in the areas where they're going to be needed to round out those budgets. So Susan, did you get any commentary on this one?
Sure. At the beginning of the year, the 2 constables that got the new vehicles, those were actually purchased in fiscal year 23, but we didn't finance them till 24. So when we financed them, we put the money in their capital outlay, but they didn't really need it. They had some upfitting to do, but other than that, so we're taking the money away from the capital outlay and actually moving it to contingency. But contingency, we had an overtime contingency. So I took the sheriff and the jail overtime in this budget amendment. The amount they were over per their budget and factored in the Social Security and retirement. And anyway, adjusted that. So the overtime contingency, we're taking away 121,247. And just kind of adjusting those. The sheriff's budget was over, but we were looking at ways that we could, move that down. There was, I think when the overtime was put in, they knew they would come back to the court to request their overtime. And there was 300,000 put in the contingency for overtime, so we did not use all of that.
Good deal. Gentlemen, questions about budget amendments? Motion and a second to approve the aforementioned budget amendments. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. We'll send it around. Number 4, discussion or approve road bore permit for precinct 3. You want to read them line by line, or you want me to do it? Okay. So what we've got is one of these projects that are going on down at precinct 3. They've there's their drawings, engineer drawings. So we make them do the road bore permit still, because we want to know exactly where they're cutting roads, no matter what they're doing, where it be a culvert install, whether it be gas pipeline, telephone lines, or whatever. So this is a form that we have previously approved in this court, or updated recently, I should say. And it goes through and lists the numerous amount of road bores or road, and it's all bores in this one, correct? No cuttings. Okay, cool. And so list all those out. So we take these in, we then will just basically, we're observing and recording these. It's not really an approval, it's an observe and record. And the reason we observe and record is to have them in the record, and the county clerk keeps a file in her office with these. So if somebody was to come along later and go, well, who cut that? Well, then we know where it's at, and that's all there is to it. And so it's just basically observe and record is really what this action item is. Because the commissioner has the sole authority to approve.
Okay.
It's going to start picking up.
Yeah.
So, did they pay their fee yet?
That's good.
You didn't come prepared with that information, that's okay. Yeah, okay, good deal. Yep, so
I'll make a motion
to observe, record.
to set and record.
Subject to the payment.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to observe and record the road bore permits for Hill County Precinct 3, subject to remuneration of the filing fee for the permits.
This is Grand Solar.
Grand Soul, thank you. That's what, between Hill County and Grand Soul. Okay. All right. In which case, I shall call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Number 5, discuss and or approve the agreement for reimbursement for mental health counseling services. This is between us and the Heart of Texas Council of Governments. And basically we're designated, HOCCOG is a grantee, we're the grantor here in this thing. They receive reimbursement. Hill County Juvenile Probation Department receives reimbursement for mental health counseling services to both groups and individuals, psychological and psychiatric evaluations. And this agreement is one that we sign just about every year that I can find in the past. There's no major changes from one to the other. But the idea is that certain things we do will be remunerated. So mental health counseling. Okay, motion and a second. Is there any further conversation, consideration, or thoughts in general? Hearing none.
Apparently, we're using PH and,
It is, we just fired the executive director, so, well, he resigned. So other than that, I heard it was, yeah, so hopefully that continues. But they've got some great employees, that really dedicated. All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve the agreement for reimbursement for mental health counseling services between Hill County and Heart Texas Council of Governments. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. I'm just gonna go ahead and sign this so you don't have to track me down later, because that gives me. Here's the whole packet for this, actually. Once you guys record it, it gets sent back to the nice people at COG.
Okay.
And they already put the address on and everything. Man, we've met. Okay. Number 5, and as that, number 6, is discuss and or approve upgrading the Cartograph contract to the enterprise level for the purchase of an asset builder. All right, you guys are familiar with Cartograph. It's our database, our data management system, if you will, for road and bridge. How do you put this? Cartograph can be a Rolls Royce. We're currently driving it as a Buick, which is fine, but there's some other options and things you can do. Since we've got buy-in from all 4 of the county commissioners using it, I'd like to expand a little bit. There's some things that we have assets that we don't really have a good way of tracking. And I'll give you one of those, for example. There's 201 soil conservation service lakes in Hill County, 201 of those. They are now spread across 3 different soil conservation services: Blackland, Aquila Hackberry, and the Richland Chambers, which is a couple of our side. There used to be multiples of these. These soil conservation dams, some of them they will admit, the federal government admit were there for floodplain purposes, were built with contracts between the landowner, the federal government, the state government, the Soil Conservation Service, and Hill County back in the 50s and 60s. It's debatable whether we have responsibility or liability for all of them, but clearly we do for some of them. So what I'm proposing to do is, as part of our Cartograph system, put a single repository, so it's no longer institutional. That means it's no longer just in my head, because if I hit the lottery or get run over by a busload of nuns, you're going to need to know this stuff. I want to use Cartograph and their mapping features in there to locate every single one of these. And then, just like your bridges get reports on a yearly basis, any dam that's been designated as high hazard by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. High hazard does not mean that it is likely to fail. High hazard means that if it was to fail, there's some really bad stuff could happen downstream. There's a dam just north of town behind Blackland Implements. It impounds about 35 acres of water. And if that dam fails, it's going to get water in the courthouse. So there's some things that we track and we get those on a regular basis. We get that information. We need a place other than the filing cabinets in my office to keep it so it's accessible not only to the general public, but the first responders. There will be some other things like this as well that we can put on there to maintain. I think that we can better utilize the Cartograph program, but to do it, I need to do 2 things. And I can wrap both of those things up in one deal. One of those is more license. If we go to enterprise, that gives us a licensure. Again, a license doesn't mean you have a right to go in and change the information. It may just be a view only where you get to look at the information. The other thing is the asset builder that allows us to internally build tools that we need to put these these structures into the system. What we're talking about is a total of $7,500. We did not originally budget for it this year, but I think we've got a plan to pay for it, and we've got an idea where it'll come from. But what I'm asking you guys for is to allow the county to upgrade the Cartograph contract to the enterprise level, so that then is unlimited licenses.
Yes, correct. We're currently licensed for 20 users, and this is gonna, when we move up to the enterprise level, it's unlimited.
Yeah.
Plus the asset builder for the custom asset that Judge Lewis is talking about.
So do each of the commissioners need to go in and identify where those are?
No.
In our precinct?
We'll do that for you.
Input those or?
No, we'll take care of that. We're going to take it as an emergency management project because it gives us 2 things we can do. Once we get this built, 1, we can go out with a drone and physically locate it and take a video of what it looks like today. Let's call it a baseline. And it'll take us time to do this. We're not going to do it in 1 month. We're not going to do it in a year, but we'll start with the ones we have high hazards for. We'll go out, we'll locate those on the deal, on our GIS map, and we'll take a drone video of it so we can upload that and go, this is what this looked like on this day and time. several years ago, you may not remember this, we had in 2015 November, some pretty torrential flooding that happened. And we had something like 20 of these sites that were damaged, and the county was forced to manage the federal grant at the last minute to replace it. We had to go out for bid, adopt federal rules, all that kind of stuff. So my goal is to have a baseline on some of these. So if we have to do that again, last time it was difficult to prove what the original condition was. We just didn't know. No one had pictures of it, and soil conservation didn't. But we're going to work hand in hand with the soil conservation people as well to help us identify these and take pictures. So it's not just the county that's going to have this information. Soil Conservation Services send it to us and we'll input. I don't think we're going to open the doors to allowing anybody else to input into the system, but we're not trying to put more work on the commissioners with this particular project. Our goal is simply to identify more county assets and put them into one repository, one database where we can better track them.
You gotta start in date here, so is this gonna be an annual deal or?
Yes, yes, that's correct. This is getting.
I know they have a program going on right now and going over and checking all these dams and see what needs to be repaired, the structures and clearing and washouts on them.
Yes, and that's one of the things that if we had the information I'm seeking to give right now, I'd be applying for a grant currently through the feds to do something, but I don't have that information and I don't have the ability to gather it in a timely fashion. I want to gather that information so when these grant opportunities come up in the future, that we can try to take advantage of them to fix these watershed structures that we don't really have anything to do with anymore. The other thing is working with the Soil Conservation Board, both the Hackberry, Aquila Hackberry and the Blackland have been great to work with. They're really eager to help. They work hand in hand with the NRCS. So there's a lot of federal help on that end. And their board is well put together. Both of those boards meet. And so trying to give those guys some assistance when they reach out to me, which they do reach out to us on a regular basis. I think this would be a good idea to go ahead and do this. I can see other things getting put in this in the future. And by what other things? County buildings, basic information could possibly go in there. Frankly, I wouldn't suggest at the moment, but if I recall correctly from the original demo years ago, this thing will do every stop sign, every road sign, every track.
You take it into the light bulb.
Light bulb. Yeah, as I said, it's a Rolls Royce and we're driving as a Buick. I don't know that we have the individual power to track light bulbs at the moment. That would be somewhat. No, agreed. Yeah, I think that would be somewhat administratively cost prohibitive, but definitely some of the larger things. And this asset builder allows us the ability to do that.
Make a motion.
All right, motion a second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate that. Number 7, observe and record the Hill County CPS Treasurer's Report. Oh, here, hold on, let me sign this. For last month. I've learned if I don't write them now, there's a good chance you're not going to see them later, and I don't want to ruin your Thanksgiving. There you go, ma'am. And we have the October 2024 Hill County CPS Board Treasurer's Report. We have assets in. Okay, that makes sense now. Sorry, I had to think about what was going on there. We have assets of 57,980.28. Total liabilities equal the same. Income from last month of October was $1,000 from public donations. And then they had expenses in the amount of $354. So the net income is $644.58 for the month. So we greatly appreciate the CPS board, and I'll make a motion to observe and record their treasurer's report for October of 24. Motion is second. Any further discussion on observing and recording the treasurer's report for the Hill County CPS board October 24? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Number 8, discuss and approve to appoint Rachel Parker to the Hill County CPS board. So one motion and a second. There you go. Find a PT Barnum there. All right. So just to give you guys a rundown real quick, this board does really great work behind the scenes for us and helping kids out in their bad situations. And you get some recognition. The current board's made up of Cassie Fleming of Whitney, Becky Jacobs of Whitney, Rachel Parker now of Whitney, Deanna Eubank of Whitney, Larry Roche of Hillsborough, Kaylee Harkins of Hillsborough, Jamie Wyndham of Penelope, Lindsay Kimball of Itasca. You have Robbie Dement of Whitney, Melissa Barnes. Thank you, Melissa, appreciate that. of Hillsborough, Texas, Timothy Whedon of Hillsborough, Megan Henderson of Hillsborough, Texas, Deborah Roche of Hillsborough, Paul Sauer of Whitney, and Andrea J. Wimberly of Whitney. And those are the current members of the Hill County Child Welfare Board, also known as the Hill County CPS Board. And I want to thank each and every one of them for their service to the children of this county, because they do things the rest of us don't want to have to think about. So thank you all.
Whoever did that.
Or did that. Covered that ground. All right, that was the discussion portion. All right, so since we've discussed it now, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Number 9 is discuss and or approve bonds. Today we have bonds for Alexis Griffin and Hill County 66 Judicial District Court. And then Corey West up in the District Attorney's Office, and then Marcus Aldridge with the Hill County 66 District Court. Those folks are over at CSCD. So those are the bonds that we have for today.
Make a motion.
Second motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Number 10, observe and or record the adult probation statement of financial position for 8/31 of 24. Are we good to go on that, or is that next court? You want us to take a coffee break real quick and we'll get a copy?
Yeah, let me do that. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go ahead. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take about a 10-minute recess real quick to get a cup of coffee, and we'll come right back in here. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's do this since we got you right here. We're gonna skip number 10 for just a moment, and let's go down here to 11. 11 is discuss and approve an interlocal cooperation agreement between and by the Heart of Texas Behavioral Health Network that used to be known as MHMR. Now it's known as the BHN, the Behavioral Health Network, and the Hill County Sheriff's Department. And what this is an agreement between the parties that talks about what we're going to perform, what they're going to perform. So the Heart of Texas Behavioral Health Network agrees to provide the following services to the receiving agency. That's Hill County. Transportation to various state or private psychiatric inpatient hospitals, which is freaking huge. And then monitoring of consumers of emergency detention orders. Now, I know using the word consumer on somebody you've just picked up, putting handcuffs in the back of a car is a really odd way of phrasing that. But remember, it's not criminal to be crazy. So they are consumers of state offerings or mental health warrants. So the cost to us, Hill County Sheriff's Department agrees to reimburse them an amount of $33 per hour per staff member involved in providing the services, which is on par with what it would cost us. Actually, probably cheaper once you figure in tires, fuel, oil changes, and whatnot to transport somebody along with our officers' salaries and benefits. The center will make every effort to utilize only one staff member, but upon judgment, they could put 2 in there. And that's just safety sometimes. I get that. The schedule of coverage, 24/7. I love that schedule of coverage. Payments be mailed and invoiced to the appropriate member of the sheriff's office, and those following the services following the month of services provided, that individual sheriff's office will guarantee that these were actually services rendered to Hill County, and then they will forward that on to the treasurer's department. Yeah. Sheriff's office, whoever is available. Oh, yeah, bailiffs, transport deputies. I've actually seen Rodney transport them, frankly. It comes down to whoever's available at the moment. It stinks. This is one of the biggest problems we've got is putting.
Safety for bailiffs in that regard.
Well, number 1, they're not criminals. Number 2, they have some privacy rights, even though they're in our custody. So like mental health is a weird area, and I don't know all the ins and outs, and I don't proclaim to be proficient at everything, but I do know our hearings, they are not open to the public. Mental health hearings are closed. Those are sealed files. So we treat people with mental health problems a little bit differently than we treat the rest of the world. Policy of the state. But yeah, no, we're solid there, I believe. Agreements, the requirements of the agreement, the Heart of Texas Behavioral Health Network is going to provide the vehicle, the gas, the maintenance, the whole 9 yards. That's part of their deal. The requirements on us is that we'll sign the interlocal agreement. That's not that difficult. I'll have an officer on duty sign the agreement for the provision of services prior to any services being provided. So it's not like Hard Texas go, oh, that's a Hill County person. We're going to haul them and send us a bill. Somebody at the department has to go, well, yeah, no, we're signing off on this. It's just a nice, shape. All services will begin at the Diversion Center located at 6500 Imperial Drive. The Diversion Center is a project we've worked the last 4 years on building with the Behavioral Health Network. I'm on that board down there. I appointed myself years ago. And it's a 16-bed facility. And why is it 16 beds? Because grant funds end at 17 beds. So you do 16. And the idea is it's going to be a turn and drop facility whereby we go down there, the officer unloads the individual into their custody, everybody signs the paperwork, and the officer comes straight back to Hill County. All mental health treatment or transportation from that point forward is under the guise of the Hard Texas Behavioral Health Network. It gets our deputies back on our streets quicker, safer, and deals. And frankly, look, we've got great deputies, but not everybody's trained to deal with mental health patients. And it can be difficult dealing with these people because it presents, like I said, a new set of rules. And so getting the trained professionals as quickly as possible to deal with that, I think is the best course of action. It further lets us know that the term of this contract starts on September 1 of this year and it ends August 31st of next year. Yeah, I know we should have had it on earlier, but we just got around to it. And termination of contract, it talks about a termination clauses. There's nothing there that bothers me. The privacy and confidentiality. It talks about, HIPAA, the Health and Accountability Act, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, 1996. That each party is going to follow the laws, and each party has to consent or has to request the consumer's consent before releasing any data of that sort. So anyway, that's the nature of this thing. And I think it's a good idea. And I would make the motion that we approve this agreement.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion will carry unanimously. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Number 12, discussion action, Hill County participating in opioid settlement with Kroger. So I know we bought a lot of opioid settlement participation agreements. Every time the AG scores a settlement with some new entity, and I think we're probably in the short rows now on this thing. We're bringing it to you. Mr. Holmes got this particular one together for us and has brought it in. And basically it allows out that we as a political subdivision of the state of Texas are able to obtain some benefits provided by this settlement agreement. To do so, obviously, we have to sign off and participate in the settlement agreement. So it kind of
Ours is from
suing them on our own.
we went on our own, but we don't have any further towards the county that I'm aware of. Why not?
Agreed. Yeah. We're not going to sue Kroger. We're never going to sue Kroger, but we participate in it like anybody else. And I can't tell you if it's ever going to receive penny number one back in here, but I guarantee you if we didn't take action at some point in the future, somebody go, well, here's this big pile of Kroger settlement money. You guys didn't participate. So
That'd be bad.
yeah, let's just go ahead and participate is my take on this. All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? Motion and second, participate in the Texas Attorney General's Kroger Texas settlement, forgive me. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Are we good for number 10 now, ma'am, or what do you? All right, we'll go back to number 10, which is observe and record the adult probation statement of financial position for the 31st day of August 2024.
And this is just, they're required to present this to the court by November 30th. Each year of what their statement is at the end of August, so they're in a healthy position and had at that time cash of $625,534.64. And then they did have some payables out. Now this is their biennium year ends next year. So some of these funds, if they're unused, will have to be paid back to the state. But this is the first year of they have a 2-year thing, the contract with the state. So just ask for your approval to observe and record.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I shall call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion shall carry unanimously. And that moves us on to the last item on our agenda today, which is going to be the number 13, discuss and take action establishing an inventory amount standard for small office purchases. as I've said several times this year, we've been going back through policy. We have a lot of policy, but a policy is only so good as you use it, update it, and revise it. Well, one of the things that came up is our inventory, and at what amount do we place things on an inventory? And we've always just kind of went over 500. Well, guess what? We don't actually have that written down in policy, and we need to do that. So the state, one of the things we look at when we look at policy for inventory has been the grants. That's probably the biggest stickler on our inventory, in all honesty, these grants. And the grants have some interesting guidelines. Normally, it's anything $5,000 or above, you have to inventory, with the exception of firearms. And then there's some things that are high hazard items, and I don't want to guess what those are. And then those things, firearms and high hazard, they fall into another category between $499 and $500 and $4,999. So I've always been of the opinion that $500 is a pretty good place, a limit. We don't need to account for every single ballpoint pen because we're going to have to hire people to do that. We'll spend more money on it than it's worth. The statute seems to anticipate that when we go to get rid of salvage property, if it's less than $500, that we can dispose of it after proper notice. But all that being said and done, I need to get everybody's input on this body as to what do we do? And then, of course, listen to our auditor and see what her recommendations are. So Susan, you've got the floor.
The $500, I think, would be the best to go with because it is the e-grants, the grants that we apply for that are both federal and state mandate that we inventory certain items from 500 to 5,000. And those are sound systems, still and video cameras, TVs, video players, recorders. I don't know, some of this stuff is even under $500. Desktop computers, laptop computers, data projectors, smartphones, tablets, other handheld devices, mobile, portable radios, and unmanned aerial vehicle drones.
Basically, electronic.
Yeah.
But you know, things have gotten so, you know, I think the laptops are, of course, you're going to spend 500, but video player, I don't even hardly have them, use them. I don't know, old technology here, you know.
I found my VHS copy of Blazing Saddles the other night, and unfortunately, I have no way to watch it anymore.
Don't have it convertible.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're trying to get our inventory, everything 5,000 and above, we try to keep track of, and that's a part of our financial statements, but the smaller items, we just need to set some guidance.
And what we'd like to do is get a suggestion from you guys from starting Marvin, and then I would like to put this in actual written policy for Hill County as part of our inventory control policy. And then we bring that final policy back before the court for approval in a pretty short time period. But I really need some direction on when we go to drafting. Are you guys comfortable with $500 for most things, and then all radios, drones, and whatever else?
You couldn't take it below $500 anyway.
We could drop it down lower than 500, but you get into what I'm afraid of is an administrative nightmare.
Right.
Yeah, it really is. It's consumables, most of that. I get why the guns, totally get why that, but if we're not paying 500 for a gun nowadays, we need to really talk about what we're buying. Okay,
Right.
stop buying hybrids. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Quit buying hybrids. Yeah. Did this one come with a serial number or no? Then you know, but I get it. A lot of these radios we have to, no matter what they're valued at, because from grant perspective, we have to have inventory of all of that. So I'm not saying I don't want accountability. That's not what I'm saying for anything under 5. It's just their consumables, and the amount of administrative cost to do it is going to way exceed any benefit we would receive from it. So
$500 would be.
And then, so 500, and then no matter the cost, radios, handgun or firearms, and a couple other minor things, 4 things they mentioned there. Does that sound sufficient to everybody? That keeps us in compliance with all federal grants, all state grants. We're well below the numbers, and that by adopting that policy formally, we can hopefully avoid some problems in the future.
Yeah, I had, since this kind of inventory, we were going through and updating the inventory and we had some asset tags and these are for precinct 1. Those go on your door jamb.
Of course.
You've been served.
If possible, they go on the left door jamb of the vehicle, motor grader, et cetera. This was one for you, sir, and this was one for Martin. I don't have one for you, Scotty, right now. I guess we just got your trailers in.
Most of
Have those. I did have one for Mr. Jackson here.
Hey, so yeah.
And they just kind of, we don't need the form back. They just kind of put it on there where you have a way to get it to what you need. I had this for Judge Lewis.
Oh, right, what have I got?
You have a Kubota tractor or.
I do.
Oh.
Oh, the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. I got, hey, Sheriff? Yeah, all right, good.
Yeah, I get a little worried about that one for a second. I would explain that, see if there's any more openings.
Oh, you have that over there. Okay. I do have quite a few for the sheriff.
I will let you guys know that when you look at my inventory list, it's insane because I am the default position. So chairs and tables, the first time I got that list several years ago, I looked at it and went, I'm gonna go to jail. There's no way I know where this stuff is. Turns out that's just how the system works.
Well, there's no trail of them over in our warehouse.
We've had this for 4 years.
No,
No, no.
hopefully not.
Hey, Susan,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna need another one of these for the new motor grader. We took delivery of that yesterday.
Okay. Great.
Good deal.
Yeah. We'll be getting this to you.
Good luck with all that.
You said you gave us back and the form back and.
No, the form is disposable. Readable. I never used it.
Recycle it. That's what you told you to do. Yeah.
Recycle.
All right, guys and gals. So what I'm gonna ask then, I don't need formal action on that policy today, so I will get something drafted up and get the formal in front of you, but with the understanding that it seems to be the agreement of the body that a $500 limit, if it's $500 worth a value of 500 or more, or it's one of those 4 categories, firearms, radios, drones, blah, blah, then that's what I'm going to draft, a very simple 1-page policy if possible up before the next commissioner's court to get that approved.
Office for payables, asking them payables to audit.
Uh-huh.
That's when they capture these and pull them out. But then they're creating more work for me.
Okay,
So business is.
okay. Good deal. Appreciate that. All right. Anything further? If not,
Make a motion adjourned.
motion second, we stand adjourned. Thank you for your attention to these matters.